What is going on, everybody? It is Friday, September the 17th, and that means it is time for my News Radar. And let's start this episode off right by talking about everybody's favorite dual screen device. That's right, Microsoft's Surface Duo, because yesterday we received another software update for Surface Duo. So let's jump over here and you'll see where I tweeted this out just yesterday. Of course, this update was only 76.18 megabytes, which led me to believe this was, of course, just another security patch, basically just bringing this thing in line with the latest security bulletin by Android. And then, of course, we did get our change log this morning, and that is exactly what this is. So I want to say that's like the third or the fourth month in a row that a Surface Duo update has come out that has been effectively nothing. All this is a security patch to bring things in line, as it said, with the security bulletin that Android has put out. Now, of course, we're wanting Android 11 here. That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that was coming sooner than later. In fact, early reports stated that Surface Duo will be getting Android 11 sometime in the late summer. Well, of course, summer does end, I think, in like 5 days from today, September the 22nd, which is, strangely enough, the day that Microsoft is having their Surface event. Now, I don't think we're going to be getting Android 11 on September the 22nd, the day that summer does. And I actually think it's probably going to come sometime, I'm hoping, between the announcement of Surface Duo 2, which will be occurring on September 22nd. If you want to hang out with me while we watch that, we'll be live streaming that day. And so sometime between that day and the day that Surface Duo 2 actually launches, which will be in early October. Now, it's been pointed out to me by a couple of people on Twitter that this update came a little bit earlier than the normal updates do come. It was on the 16th, which is, a few days earlier than it normally is. Is this something to draw any conclusion from? I don't know if it is or not. It probably honestly isn't, because this is not a big update. This is just a security update, so theoretically wouldn't take very long to get this thing packaged and sent out to us. All in all, it does seem to add to that general feeling of, nothing really happening with Surface Duo as of late, although that feeling can be totally overturned here in a couple of weeks if Android 11 drops and it's a game changer and Microsoft Launcher gets a huge refresh at the same time, which is something that is entirely possible, and some insiders have speculated about exactly that happening. But for now, it is still easy to feel like Surface Duo is being overlooked. I also want to draw your attention to a poll that I put out just the other day talking about Surface Duo as well. So one of the features that Surface Duo has had since the beginning with Microsoft's Edge launcher is the ability to easily have two windows open at the same time. And for me, since the last Microsoft Edge update, well, that functionality has been broken. So if I open up Edge here, normally before, if I hit Edge again down here, it would open a new window over here. Now, if I open it up, it doesn't. It just moves the browser over as if it's any other app. So that dual web browser functionality is not working. Now, if you long press on a link, you can hit Open in New Window, and it does still work that way. It's not as if the functionality is totally gone. It's just that it's broken. And that does sound very familiar, because we talked about the same thing with Microsoft's News app being updated to start. The functionality was in there, but it was broken and it didn't work correctly until a server-side, I'm assuming a server-side update was done, and now it's working like maybe half as well as it used to work on the old News app. So this poll, I wanted to know from you guys if this was happening to you too. So I put out this poll here and I asked, is this happening for you guys too? And after 110 votes, we're like 50-50. And I'm wondering, if people are just running different builds. I'm on the latest build in the store. Maybe some people haven't received the update for that latest build. It'd be interesting to see if these results do flip over time, because this isn't working for me. It's not working for a lot of you, but it is still working for some of you. So as updates come out, will this get fixed or will it get worse? Either way, goes back to what we're talking about here, the software on Surface Duo just kind of being overlooked. So fingers crossed that when Duo 2 is announced, Android 11, Microsoft Launcher update, all these things come out and everything gets much better. Now let's jump over to the world of Google devices. So you know how much I enjoy my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold. 2, and obviously the Z Fold 3 is very good as well. But the foldable that I've got my eye on the most, and I'm maybe the most excited about, when I say foldable, I'm not meaning folding 2 screens like the Surface Duo, because Duo 2 I'm very pumped for. But in terms of folding OLED stuff like the Z Fold, it would be the Google Passport device, Google's own Pixel branded foldable device. And for a long time, we've not really known, when is this thing coming? We've had some leaks in the past stating that 2021 was going to be when this thing was going to launch, but it's been silent since then. We know about the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, heard nothing about Google Passport. However, we now have another leak, another piece of information saying 2021 might actually be the launch date or launch year for Google's Passport. So this article here in GSM Arena is citing David Naranjo, who is a senior director at Display Supply Chain Consultants. And what he has here is a spreadsheet showing different phones and when they're meant to launch. And if you look here, Google Pixel Fold Q4 of 21. Now, something worth pointing out here is that this actual spreadsheet was shared some time ago, and so far it's been pretty accurate. Several things that were on this list that have launched in the time frame that was expected via this spreadsheet. Keep in mind, this also does fall in line with this tweet from Ross Young back in July, where he said that all these foldables will be using 120 hertz LTPO screens from Samsung, and he talked about the Google foldable having a 7.57 inch display, which is ever so slightly bigger than the Z Fold 3. So with the full proper unveiling of Google Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro coming up so soon, and with the end of the year coming up so soon, if this is true, I think it should be expected that we should get a similar announcement for the Pixel Fold at the same roundabout time. There's really not much time left, so perhaps when Google does do their full Pixel 6 unveil, maybe this will be their one more thing, which is kind of crazy because they couldn't just slip it in and say, hey, this is something we're working on. This is more like, hey, this is launching this year as well. We have to launch very, very soon. I mean, October is typically about the latest people launch devices like this. So we're really running out of time, and it would be quite the shock for the general public. And I think it would be one of the coolest sneak surprise announcements and launches I've seen in a really long time. Hopefully this is true and the Pixel Fold is coming very soon, because personally, I would love nothing more than to have a Google Pixel foldable device on the market. Perhaps this thing can come in a little bit cheaper. Will it be running Google's Tensor chip? I would say most likely. I think immediately this thing could be the foldable with the best camera system on the market. I mean, the Z Fold obviously is very, very good in terms of camera performance, but I don't think it's going to touch a proper super high-end Pixel. Will it have the same camera setup as the Pixel 6? Will it have, these higher resolution, larger sensor cameras? Will it have that horizontal bar across the back? So many questions that I would love to have answered, and hopefully we'll have answers to them very, very soon. And speaking of the Pixel 6, you can actually go look at one if you live in New York. Now, you can't touch it, but you can look at it. This is a really strange thing Google is doing, but it's kind of cool. So the Pixel 6 already on display at Google's New York City store. This article is by Android Central. So basically what they're doing is they've got Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro inside of a glass box. You can walk up and look at it, look at the back of it, see the camera bump, see what you think about it. We've got some pictures here up close to share where you can see that square periscope lens that is missing on the standard Pixel 6 but is present on the Pixel 6 Pro. You can get a good look here at the color on the standard Pixel 6, which is this kind of nice mango-y orangish color. The bottom end of the phone, USB-C port, a couple of speakers down there. This is quite a cool picture as well. You can actually see how narrow it is up top above that really thick, really wide camera bump. And then when you compare that to the 6 Pro, that space above that camera bump is actually taller. Of course, this has a larger screen, so no shock there. Overall, I don't know how I feel about this phone's design still. It's began to grow on me a little bit over time. I started off being a little bit shaky on it. I think I like it more now than I used to. What do you think of the design? It's definitely unique. It's definitely something that's going to stand out amongst the crowd. Is this something you could see yourself considering buying, or are you waiting for something else? Of course, we know that October the 19th is the date for the full unveiling of the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro, which are running these brand new, funky, crazy Tensor chips I've talked about a couple times already. Pixel 6 Pro will have a 6.7-inch QHD Plus display running at 120 Hz, whereas the standard Pixel 6 will only be 6.4 inches and 90 Hz. It's also rumored that both of them will be sporting the same 50 megapixel main sensor and 33 watt fast charging, as well as some pretty fast wireless charging coming with a brand new Google Pixel dock. Guys, that is all the news I do have for you today. Be sure to check back every Monday and Friday for the next editions of News Radar. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.